Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Seer 365 session. The session where we sit down with one of our valued ISV partners and talk through how they operate within the Microsoft Dynamics 365 ecosystem and how they can help you to unlock new opportunity. I'm really looking forward to today's session with Zap. Today, we're talking about how to make reporting profitable again for your Dynamics practice. Data is at the absolute heart of the conversations that we are having today, both breaking down data silos and then structuring it for use with more advanced capabilities. Up to and including the use of AI and agents. So today I'm joined by Rohit Kamwara, Head of Revenue at Zap. Over to you, Rohit.
Thanks, Rufus, and thanks to the Seer team for this opportunity. And thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoy the session. Great. So we're going to talk about reporting, analytics, and AI, or conversational AI in our case, but everything to do with data from your ERP or extending that beyond the ERP. So what is Zap within the Microsoft ecosystem? So at a very core level, we are a data warehouse automation tool. But what we've done is instead of being a generalist, we became a specialist in the ERP marketplace. And I'll show you some examples of what that means. Because essentially at a very high level, we understand tables, structures, metadata behind Dynamics 365, whether it's Business Central or Finance and Operations. We've been going on for over 15 plus years and have quite a few customers in the Dynamics space using our product. On the front end side, you've got Power BI you can connect to, you've got Excel you can connect to, or use our own BI tool. So I'll show you a combination of all. And recently we've started testing Fabric on top of our data models in the form of mainly to try out conversational AI. So I will demonstrate that as well for you. Why is reporting hard? At a very fundamental level, Dynamics tables are not easy to understand and they are complex, and getting a table and making sure that is aligned with other tables and finding the joins and the relationships and all of that takes time and is complex, and it's difficult to maintain. And obviously these softwares continuously update and upgrade, and if you're not in line with that, then essentially you end up having a technical debt that you're carrying with an old piece of data model and software and making sense of it. So that's one aspect of it, which is quite technical. The other aspect of it is the logic behind the data. So think about things like revenue, think about things like margin. So defining the business logic of revenue being, is revenue the total revenue? Is revenue total revenue minus discounts? Is total revenue minus credit note and this and that? So you start to understand the complexity behind and why the business logic behind that data is so important. And this is where we come in, where it's not just the ability to connect to any table or any column in the system, but also to be able to use this business logic and build more business logic on top of it, which then you can use to build reports and dashboards and do that ad hoc. So make it self-service for business users because you've defined that business logic into a cube or a data set. On top of that, by defining into a cube and a data set, what you then do is make AI work on top of that, which is what I will be demonstrating and why that is able to do that. Okay, so that's kind of at a fundamental level why reporting is tricky, is hard to scale, and more importantly, it's hard to make it self-serve for the business user.
Speaking as someone who used to work as a seller in that space as well, I think a lot of businesses don't appreciate the sheer amount of data that they generate and how to use it in a useful way. So when it exactly as you say here, when it does come to engaging with that data, it needs a huge amount of building and structuring to actually make it useful.
Absolutely, Rufus, and rightly pointed out. So basically, sorry about that. This is what happens when you have Mac everywhere and you can't figure out how to stop things to get be connected or less connected. But no, absolutely, Rufus, because it's reporting is like a never-ending exercise, good or bad. And the
Mm.
reason for that is the question to that report, the question to your data keeps changing because you may have a simple sales by region, by month, or by year report. And then you realize, okay, I want to dig into sales by product and by margin now because I want to add that lever on top and understand I may be getting a lot of revenue, but is my margin appropriate? And then you want to dig deeper into which product or product groups provide me the best margin so I can maybe spend time selling more of the ones that give me more margin. So top line and bottom line, takes into consideration that way. So reporting can become detailed and complex and deeper very, very quickly. And if you don't have tools like this, it's very hard to build that data pipeline and all of that before you can even do any sort of analysis there. But yeah, great comment. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So moving on, what is Zap then? So like I said, it's a data warehouse automation tool, but we've taken that into the D365 space. And what that means is we have a connection to D365. So we pull everything that you have in your D365 database, core tables, custom tables, everything. Then we have a data modeling layer where you transform that table into pipelines and relationships and measures and dimensions. So you build a data model or a semantic data model, as people like to call it today. Semantic data model fundamentally means I have a cube and that cube has business logic included in that cube. Like I said, what is revenue to my business? What is margin to my business? What is cost to my business? Those definitions are included on top of the measures and dimensions that you add into the queue. And once that is done, in our case, you have options to connect it with three pieces of front-end tools. So be it Excel, be it Power BI, or be it Zap BI. So I'll show you a combination of those tools during this demo session. Okay, let me just come out of the presentation. I'm going to move into the Zap tool. Can you just let me know, Rufus, if you can see my screen? And I've gone into Zap.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you. So I'm going to just pull up some elements, but I'm going to show you the journey from beginning in terms of connecting to the data and then what is a table, a pipeline, and a data set, and then what do reports look like. And then I'll go one step further into Power BI and then show you the same interpretation of it, but more importantly, show you Fabric and Copilot on top where I'm conversing with the data. Okay, so starting at the beginning, let's pick up a D365 data model. So I've got a finance and operations data model. Okay. At the very start, you essentially, and once this loads, I'm going to just load up a couple of more pages just so we don't have to wait next time we reach that. But essentially, you go into the connection details. So we connect via a service package. So as soon as we get you your server and application ID, we deploy a service package, which you put it onto your D365 deployment. So this is through your all-in-one deployment through Microsoft. And as
Mhm.
soon as that goes through, we connect and we are able to pull in all the tables that exist against this. This is, if you see the scroller here, these are thousands and thousands of tables on D365 finance and operations. But what are we bringing? We're not just bringing the table, we're bringing the metadata behind the table. We're also bringing this table and the relationships behind those tables. So you've got a comprehensive list, already as a starting point. So this is the staging area of the tool. I have not yet brought any or done any transformations. On top of that, you get, obviously access to all the companies and everything, plus the financial dimensions that may be on the system, and you can bring those into this as well. Okay, going back to the table. If you look at this pipeline symbol, this means these are transform tables or pre-transform tables, which we have identified as a starting point or this accelerator for you to start with a data model. Okay, so this is the automation here. So once it's connected, I deploy it, and then I come back to the data model. I have these pipelines and relationships pre-created for you. So if I say stick to sales as an example. So some of you may know these tables, but as an example, they've been transformed into a plain English, and a lot of other transformations has happened on top of that. So as an example, I've got this sales line. You can have filters on dates or partitions or which company you want to take, or I only want data from a certain period if you have like 10, 15 years of data, because it does not make sense. We don't do any restriction, but you can control what you pull. Okay, you can bring all 20 years of data or 1 year of data, depending on what you want. Then in the column space, we have columns that are there, which we have transformed into plain English. We've then identified keys, which are primary keys, foreign keys, lookups. There's some calculations being created, pre-created rather, for you. There are relationships already built. So this one table relates to probably 20 other tables within D365. So that's all pre-created for you. Then you have access to every single column within that sales line or table, which you can bring in, literally select and apply. This could be, again, core column or custom column that you may have on a sales order or a sales invoice that you want to bring in. We've added extra steps around, delivery performance. We've added some um, distinctions around currency conversion. So those are handled immediately as well. And what you end up with is a set of transformed columns, which you can then take into the cube, which is a combination of measure and dimension. A measure being a value and a dimension being what do I group that information by. So this transformation results in this cube. This is step one. You are ready day one with this step one. So connection, transformation of close to probably 100, 200 tables, over 300 relationships across those tables, then a cube that you have ready to use to build reports, and some pre-built reports to give you an acceleration to understand the data behind the cube. Okay,
And
so
that
let's,
took you like
sorry, please.
less than 5. No, I was just saying that took you like less than 5 minutes to set that up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as the credentials are fine and you've deployed the package, this is a very straightforward exercise that comes through. Okay.
Very cool.
So once it's connected, you are at a starting point. You're at a huge advantage at a starting point. So we do sales, purchasing, inventory, manufacturing, finance, 5 modules, which can take you months and months to actually develop from scratch. But there is business logic defined behind this as well. So as an example, let's build a simple sales report. So I'm going to take invoice line amount. I'm going to take cost of sales. I'm going to take gross profit, and I've got some values. I'm going to refresh my cube, and it'll only show me the dimensions which are related to these measures, so you can group them by. And I'm going to group by, let's just do countries for now. Okay, I'm just going to take the country, put it into rows, and that's, I mean, it's demo data, but you get the gist. I've got a report by country on my sales. I can then go in and say, okay, turn this into a chart. So it automatically puts it into a chart. Then I can create totals at the bottom. I can decide what goes as a chart. So I've got vertical, horizontal, different types of charts. There's a lot going on here that you can do. So we are a very quite a detailed tool when it comes to report building and analyzing your data. But the biggest reason we're able to get there so quickly is because the cube is ready as a starting point for you. That's the huge acceleration that you get. Okay, so that's kind of the journey for, say, you connect to D365, deploy the data model, and connect Zap BI on top, where you get this. What about Power BI? So I've just switched my screen. Can you please confirm you can see Power BI?
I can indeed.
Okay, so when it comes to Power BI, the concept is fundamentally the same. What we're deploying is a data model on Power BI. And if I go to the edit section, we connect via, for those technical on the call, we connect via Azure Analysis Services. So this is a tabular data model. So you need an Azure Analysis Services from Microsoft as a license to connect with it. So if you are a Power BI premium user, that license is already included. If you are on Fabric capacity, that license is already included, or you could buy it on its own as well. What that license fundamentally gives you is access to the queue. So as soon as you connect to our ZAP data models or semantic models, you get the same queue that was on ZAP BI in Power BI. When you refresh the data on XAM, it automatically refreshes on this queue. So that is ready to use on Power BI immediately as well. The same concept applies, and I'm going to walk you through some example reports on these. So I've got some sales trends. I do it on ZAP BI as well, but since it's a Microsoft crowd and I'm presuming Power BI would resonate a little bit better than with you. That's why
Absolutely.
I'm sticking to Power BI. So we give some bunch of pre-built reports, and this is more important around understanding your data, validating your data, verifying the pull is correct, and all that information. So I've got a bunch of sales dashboards. So in this, I've got top 5 countries, customers, employees, item groups, and some detailed views and some trend and analysis that are working on that. If I go to inventory, I've got some valuation reports, I've got some aging, and all those information working here. APAR is a really interesting area for us because being a data warehouse, we can actually control and give you a snapshot of data at the time you want it. So as an example, let me just check if AP has better data. Probably not. So AR dashboard as an example, I've got 12 months of aging coming together. And the reason I have this is because I am able to take a snapshot of data at every month. So I have 12 snapshots working here. If I go into the aging report, I'm looking at 2024. I can actually look at this data as of a particular date. So as an example, today we are on 26th of February. I could look at this data as of 31st of January. Hugely helpful for month-end processes, hugely helpful when you're doing your financial audits and all of that amazing stuff. Okay. Then we have some CFO dashboards, which kind of brings all of that together. So your P&L, your balance sheet, and your cash, all of that coming together. Some AP information. We've got purchasing as well. So your vendor analysis and a production dashboard as well. The key part here is we've got a few dashboards to give you an acceleration. On ZAP BI, we go a little bit further. But the key part here is this data foundation, which is ready for you. If you don't have this data foundation, building these dashboards, I mean, I was actually working with a Microsoft partner a few weeks back, and they would say each dashboard would take me like a week to build. And that's because you have to connect to the data, build it on a table, then create the pipeline, then create the relationship, then create the data set, and then come and build the dashboard and then validate the information. We have done a lot of that journey for you already. And more importantly, the business logic on top of it is already there. Okay. So what that business logic then does for me is, and just to be transparent, I'm using Fabric because Fabric allows me to get analysis services, but more importantly, Fabric allows me to connect to Copilot. I can now talk to the data. Let me give you a little bit of a demonstration into it. So let's say, okay, I want to create a new report, and I'm saying, okay, suggest to me based on my data what new report I would like to build. And this actually does go and build the reports. This actually does give you the DAX behind the report as well. It will also tell you how it got that information from your data. So we're going to build a report which does not exist here. So I'm going to say, let's just look at inventory as an example. I want to look at inventory valuation. Well, actually, I have inventory. So let's look at cash. Okay. Let's just create a cash page for ourselves and see cash conversion cycle. So we don't have DSO and all of that here. So let's see a cash conversion cycle and see what it comes up with. So I can interact what testing we've done so far, and we've started since January, once our data models were compatible with Fabric. We've tested questions to a report. We've tested questions to the data. We've tested trying to build a report as well. And there you go. It's gone away and built me a cash to cash cycle in, I'm not even sure it's been a minute. I'm actually takes less time than I complete a sentence here, but it gives you a perspective of what this is. But let's try and understand this. Okay, what is it done? So it is created a report with these key metrics around it. You've got cash to cash cycle, which has got days sales outstanding, days payable, so your AP and AR information, and then your inventory, because inventory sitting on your stock also results in cash sitting in essentially your warehouse, and you need to put it out, let it go. So to be able to build something like this is obviously takes time, but because the data is connected and transformed and the business logic is in there, it is able to do it, well, I would say within seconds. But let's try something simple. Okay, tell me sales for 2025. Okay, let's start simple, and we'll go and build a slightly more detailed report through this. And trust me, I every time I do this, I try and pull out something different, because the value is in trying to understand what is a report and what is analysis in the future. Because my personal opinion is, and this is really important, and I'll come to that. My personal opinion is that you'll have a bunch of reports which are required either through for statutory reasons, or you want a function or a department to run those reports and make decisions from it. The rest will turn into conversational AI and you making decisions and analysis through that. Okay. So what is this doing? This is the key part about prompting, and this is something we learned. What we define, you have to literally talk to it as a 5-year-old, because your data set is like that. So I have to explain to him what is a sale. Okay, so I'm telling it its total invoice line amount for 2025. I could have prompted it and saying, show me the total invoice line amount for 2025 as well as a prompt. So there is a bit of learning in terms of what is a prompt, what is the right prompt, and how you define that. So it's going to show me that. What we'll quickly do is, I'm just conscious of time, and I've got some couple of other slides to close out as well. So what I'll do is I'll ask it to go build a trend, but I mean, you've already seen that on this with a cash to cash cycle. So I'll ask it to go build a trend and then go from there. Okay, no sales. Okay, show me 2024. Doesn't help when your demo data is demo data and there's only a couple of years where the data is. So I know there is data on 2024. So let's see. Hopefully it is 2024. No, okay. Just show me sales for the last 5 years as a trend. Okay, let's try that.
As someone who's been working with AI agents recently, this is very familiar.
Yeah, of course, because you have to, and I'm trying to not do this scripted, because I want people to understand the two sides of this. AI is not gimmicky. AI does not work if your prompt is wrong. AI does not work if your data foundation is wrong. So I try not to do it scripted with 3 prompts written and try and do it that way. I want to give people the experience that there is an element which can work and there is an element which takes a little bit more time. So I'm hopeful this will work, because it's creating a DAX query. So that means it's found the data and it's putting it together for me. There you go. There was only 2 years of data. So if I just expand my answer, that's the data that has come up. That's the DAX query. So it actually brings the whole query and defines it for you. I mean, this is now the power of AI really, really working. And it's also showing me how it's calculated. So how do you trust that information? Okay, so I'm going to go back to my presentation now. So if I go back, if I go full screen, can you see me back in my presentation?
We can, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, gave you a glimpse of AI and what we've done. What we are doing now, we've got our first, so we've got 70 clients using Power BI on top of Zap today. And one of those clients very kindly is willing to share their data with us now to be used for testing purposes. So we're working on testing that with them so we can have some foundational prompts ready. So when we ship Zap out and with conversational AI, it's basically, hey guys, conversational AI works, whether your medium is Power BI or Zap BI or Excel. And these are the set of prompts we've already tested for you. So please have a check with that. Okay. So essentially what you're getting is you get a lot of pre-built content from us, but more importantly, the data model and the business logic is ready for you to add information to it. Because all of that is ready, the speed at which you're able to produce reports, dashboards, and now more importantly, analysis for conversational AI is hugely faster in our case, rather than going and building in yourselves. We are Fabric compatible, and one question may come up: hey, why don't I just go build it in Fabric? Let me explain you something. Firstly, Fabric is very complicated. Secondly, if you can find out how much Fabric costs to you, please come and talk to me, because I struggle sometimes. My head of pre-sales recently, when we were testing Copilot, he decided he's going to go to level 5, and that cache-to-cache cycle I showed you, that was a simple asking it to go build it to a definition it provided to me. In the other sense, he went and said, I'm going to give you a 20-line prompt. You go build it. So 2 minutes later, I did go build it, but my CFO got a quick ping on his mobile with a $200 amount for spending 2 minutes on Fabric with its compute power and everything. It is phenomenally powerful, but the costs can rise up hugely, and you got to make sure you are in control. Fabric is a hugely technical tool, and you're starting from scratch. So connecting to data, pulling data, those pulls costs a lot as well. Whereas in our case, you wouldn't, because the pulls are already done for you. I'm just rendering in Fabric through Azure Analysis Services. So those costs are saved. But more importantly, it's the business logic, and building that business logic takes time. What is revenue? What is cost? What is margin? What is my actual bucket of aging, and so on and so forth. Those definitions, what is my fiscal calendar, all those definitions that are hugely important are already predefined for you to use. Okay.
And we have had a
Sorry.
question. We have had a
Yeah.
question through, and I think you've covered it off a little bit when you've been talking about Fabric. But this question says, how do you envision Fabric IQ benefiting customers who are using Fabric moving forwards?
I'm not familiar to Fabric IQ. I'm already only on Fabric capacity. So if it's some part of it, I don't know. But all I understand is everything is moving towards Dataverse for Microsoft. Previously, Power BI had this Q&A function. You could talk to a report. That's gone. Copilot, you need it. You need Fabric as a license. So Fabric capacity as a license. So apologies, I'm not familiar with Fabric IQ.
No problem at all. And one other thing I did want to just kind of call out from your demo earlier is, obviously this is a very Microsoft focused demonstration, but my understanding is you can hook into several data sources and feed that all into the reporting as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got 50 plus connectors, and if I just come off, thanks for the reminder, Rufus, if I just come off here, because I had opened it up, these are all the connectors we connect with. So sure,
Amazing.
ERP is our staple, and that's Microsoft for you, but if there are other connectors like CRM, your Zendesk and stuff we ourselves use, Sugar CRM. But if we don't have an application connector, we probably would connect through a database or through file structures or OData, a cloud or Excel, whatever the format we can bring through it. Okay. Conscious, I've literally got a minute, but yeah, basically,
go.
Look, at the end of the day, AI doesn't work if your data foundation isn't right. And that's what we provide for AI to work. We're already testing AI, as you've seen, and we're now bringing customer data to build prompts or predefined prompts that can be used by people on that. Okay. So what do you genuinely gain from here? You gain a data model, a speed at which to provide reporting, dashboarding, and AI conversations to the businesses that you support and provide value to. From a simple partner perspective, our world is literally quite easy. So there are two delivery models. One is where we do the implementation. The other is where partners do the implementation. So if we do the implementation, you're looking at 25% margin on software, 15% on services, but we do the services. But if you end up learning this, if it's Power BI Fabric, I'm presuming you will want to go deeper and learn that and create that value within the business. I'm assuming that. If that is the case, then yeah, services is yours. We manage the data model. If you want to manage that as well, for sure, you can be trained to do that. But yeah, with that, just want to come to the end of that and yeah, pass it over to Rufus.
Thank you, Rohit, and absolutely spot on time. If you do have any questions after today, then please do feel free to reach out to Rohit or drop any comments you have into either LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever you're watching this on demand, and someone will be in touch very, very soon to help. I think this is so important for Microsoft partners in this day and age. There is more demand than ever to get end user data into a structured, usable platform and to start applying AI workloads as well. It's a massive priority of Microsoft, and it's something that smaller partners, especially by working with solutions like Zap BI, you can get access to a really, really nice, deep knowledge source as well in terms of building out your own data analytics practices. Wonderful. So all that remains is for me to thank you all for joining, and I will see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, Rufus. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Cheers.
Cheers.